So, good evening, everyone. Today we have gathered here for the first session of WCBNR Season 2 after the successful completion of the Season 1. So, kudos to us and to the team. Firstly, I'm grateful to the WCB Research Foundation and Nishit sir for letting us organize such event. And as we discussed earlier, this season has something new. We'll be choosing three best presenters after the completion of the season. And so for that, we have a judge today. I'm welcome Dr. Archana Gajjar, who is Assistant Professor of Zoology at Bowdoin College, Junagadh. So welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Pritesh.
Now I introduce our speaker, Mr. Devrat Singh. He is a WCB intern and a research biologist in All India Tiger Estimation Project of Wildlife Institute of India. He has majorly worked on reptile ecology. Today, he will be discussing with us on human-snake interactions in Uttar Pradesh, India, people's perception, attitude and knowledge analysis, and study of associative determinants. So over to you, Devrat. All the very best.
Thank you so much, Kritajna, for the wonderful introduction. And without wasting much time, I would now like to share my screen. So, Kritajna has already spoken about the about today's topic, that is human-snake interactions in Uttar Pradesh, India, people perception, attitude, and knowledge analysis, and study of the associated determinants. So we all know that increasing human populations, climatic change, development, and rapid urbanization has led to the sharp declining of wildlife populations and their habitats. So mostly.
Excuse me, Devrat.
Yes, sir.
You have to speak loudly or keep microphone close to you.
Right, sir. Yeah. So is it now audible?
Yeah, it is now audible.
Yeah, so increasing human populations, climate change, development, and rapid urbanization has led to sharp declining of wildlife population and their habitats. So snakes are one of those species which are not like they have already been stayed very close to humans. I believe there must be no human settlement with lack of snake population. Now, this can be attributed to various subjects like improper waste management, gardening practices, agricultural practices. Lots of these things provide snakes kind of habitat which they might not find naturally. Like they prefer these human settlements as a better habitat than their natural habitat that has been made for them. Also, because the human practices may boost the prey population, snakes are majorly dependent on rodents. That is the next point, that because of the effectiveness of snakes in the predation of rodents, snakes may be regarded as the keystone predators, especially in grassland and agricultural ecosystems. Grassland ecosystem here means the gardening practices, the lawns and parks mostly, and agricultural ecosystems as well, the crops and all. And also one of the most significant importance of snakes is that they are the ecological indicators. Like not only the snakes but all the reptiles, they are the ecological indicators. They are all the reptiles are very sensitive to any kind of environmental change. Then also snake venom is used in making of anti-venom and largely other medicines as well in today's state. Then snakes and humans cohabitat rural as well as urban environments. That I've already spoken about. Now, snakebite envenoming affects 2.5 million people globally, and India is the leading nation in snakebite mortality. Snake in 2009, WHO had classified snake bite envenoming as one of the neglected tropical diseases after major death of lots of people. That is the 2.5 million people. This estimate was given right before, I think in 2008, and then in 2009, finally WHO classified snakebite envenoming as a neglected tropical disease. Also, snake bite envenoming is one thing that has led to major downfall in the snake population, the major cause for human snake conflict. Everything that like all the thoughts, perceptions, and anything that people carry in their mindset about snakes is attributed to snake bite envenoming, like I think solely. Then, as a consequence, intentional killing of snakes, destruction of habitats, and poor laws for conservation are threatening snake populations. Myths and superstitious beliefs have had a severely negative impact on snake conservation. Despite being considered as idol for worship and symbol of prosperity and many other things, still people have a very negative mindset and they fear snakes to the extreme, and that is a natural phenomena. Like we have evolved in such a manner that obviously humans have never been a predatory species, and any kind of predatory species that is capable of killing next species or weaker species, so we are bound to fear those species, and that can be as small as a snake, definitely. So, materials and methods. The study was carried out in Uttar Pradesh province of India from 1st October 2021 to 31st December 2021. That is for 3 months. We conducted a cross-sectional study to determine the basic knowledge, perception, and attitude of people towards snake. And not only this, we also tried to find out the determinants or the things that cause this kind of perception and attitude. So our main focus was to elaborate these determinants for which we studied this extensively. The research was done by conducting a random survey across the state by using a closed-ended semi-structured questionnaire, and a total of 650 respondents were sampled. Design of questionnaire was made in such a way that it was divided in 5 sections. The first section consisted of questions to study the socioeconomic and demographic variables of the sample population, human snake encounter scenario, and knowledge of the respondents regarding snakes and identification of species. Section B consisted of questions to determine the snake bite scenario and people's knowledge on snake bite management, which they mostly lack, and snake bite management needs a lot of attention, a lot of intervention, and new plans. Because snake bite, if we succeed in developing good measures for snake bite management, obviously this stress and tension between humans and snakes will be minimized to a very substantial extent. Section C contained a knowledge questionnaire to determine the myths associated with the snakes, and section D consisted of questions to determine the scenario of tolerance and a tolerance about the snake charmers in the study area. So snake charmers have always been the primary cause for floating the negative attitude and perception among the minds of people. So we try to study the how much people are influenced through snake charmers. So and the extent to which people are influenced by snake charmer will determine that will determine how much prevalent the myths would be. Section E consisted of knowledge questionnaire to determine the perception of people towards snake conservation and management of human-snake interactions. So this is the result of the demographic parameters and socioeconomic variables, where male and female percentage, age ranges, and education level, locality, occupation, everything was given. One thing that we included in our study as a variable was that whether the respondents have studied biology in their higher education or not, because biology is one of the subjects that will ultimately lead to it will somewhere lead to the study of snake bite management, or maybe reptile ecology, or something related to snakes and human snake conflict maybe. So we just wanted to see that even after studying biology, how many of the respondents are actually aware about the human snake conflict scenario, or they carry right kind of information regarding snakes. So this was a crucial thing, because the results that we found were very, like we didn't expect that. Need some corrections as well. Then majority of respondents reported that they have encountered snakes at least once in their life, and 36 respondents, that is 5.4% respondents, reported that they had never encountered any snake. So most of our respondents had actually encountered a snake at some point of their life. Only 5.4%, 54% respondents reported that people encounter snakes very often in their area, and 19.69% reported that people encounter snakes less often in their area. That is again, however, 40%, 40.31% reported that people very rarely encountered snakes, and 27.07% claimed that people very rarely encountered snakes in their area. So this was like, if I move to the previous slide, you can see that how many people like we can compare that how many people are actually very like they are living in a very snake encounter prone area. Then this graph shows where have most of the snake encounters taken place. So most of the snake encounters obviously took place in bushes or forested area, kind of. But then again, construction sites, storage places are some of the places that might not have too much of snake populations, or they have not suffered many human snake encounters, but still they carry their position in their list. And many of the respondents also mark that they have encountered snake in their house or in their house lawn. That is, in fact, whenever we used to go for rescues, so mostly we have removed the snakes from inside the house or house lawns. So it's not that people have to walk very far to encounter any snakes. They might even find them inside the house as well. That has some of its cause, because maybe they are not able to properly manage the rodent population or smaller reptile population like lizards or amphibians like toads, which brings or attracts snakes into their houses. Then in different seasons, monsoon was found to be the season with the most of the human snake encounters, and autumn was found to be the least, like it was a season with the least amount of human snake encounters. Also, one very extraordinary thing that we found was that there was a 1.8%, that is about 2% of the snake encounters happened in winters as well. So about winters, there is a very good thing that people might be wondering why, how come in winters human snake encounters may occur, because in winters obviously the snakes undergo brumation. They are not very like they do not move so freely that humans might encounter them. But the thing is that the places they choose for brumation, that is mostly the storage houses or the wherever the people have kept their groceries, or they have stacked over goods, and they find it a very safe place, because snake obviously it's an animal, so it doesn't know that it doesn't have to go into that, but still. So these provide very good shelters for snakes to brumate. And in winters, whenever people are removing those stuff, or they are removing those stacks, they often find snakes right behind those stacks. So human snake encounters at different times of the day. Late evening was found to be the time of most of the snake encounters, and early morning and late morning, that is the entire morning, was like it had the minimum amount of human snake encounters. But we can see here that there's no time of the day where a respondent has any, I mean, people have responded that they do not find snake at this particular time of the day. So snake movement are constant the entire day, but still late evening, and as we move towards early morning towards late evening, the in a frequency of snake encounters increases. Night is most of the snake activity actually happens at night, but since most of the people are sleeping at that time, they do not encounter snakes. That is why late evening has been determined as the time of most snake encounters. identification of venomous species among commonly found species. We provided the pictures of 11 most commonly found snake species in Uttar Pradesh, and this was the response given by the respondents that they didn't know that common wolf snake is non-venomous. Like we can see, about 40% people have already marked common wolf snake as a venomous species. Indian rock python as a venomous species, and even not talking about the rest of them, but Indian rat snake they have marked as a venomous species. So there are some species that resemble each another. Like Indian rat snake is many times confused with spectacled cobra. Spectacled cobra when it's at the verge of shedding its skin, so gives almost a brownish texture. And if a person is not carrying deep knowledge with snakes, so he might confuse Indian rat snake with spectacled cobra. And same is the case with Indian rock python and Russell's viper, or uh, common cat snake with soy skill viper. There are lots of these species that physically resemble each another. So people had no idea that like they need to be taught that which snakes are actually venomous and which snakes they can tolerate around them, because ultimately it's the game is all about human tolerance towards snakes. If they allow snakes to be with them and they are well aware and well educated what to do and what not to do, obviously this we can bring down this conflict respondents knowledge regarding diet range of snakes. So most of the people were aware that snakes usually feed on rodents. But here we had mentioned that we are talking about snakes of all different size classes, colors, and movement patterns and everything. So we had to respond accordingly. And despite the fact that snakes are mostly predators of rodents or eggs, but there people marked that like not much people, but still 25% people mark that most of the snakes they feed on medium-sized mammals as well. uh, 3%, around 2.5% mark that they feed on large size mammals. Now, large size mammals include elephants, giraffes, and rhinos, buffaloes. So there's no such a snake that can actually swallow a elephant as well. So, and smaller mammals can still be considered. And 30% people mark that snakes can feed on humans as well. Now, they might have marked it because they were considering Python as well, but still they need to be taught that because of the T shape of our shoulders, it's all near to impossible for even the largest of pythons or anacondas to actually swallow a human, had not it been forcibly pushed inside into its mouth. Though some people in Indonesia, like Indonesian people, are very short-heighted and they are not so. Their build is not so robust. So there have been cases reported that people got swallowed by large pythons. But anyway, so but still people are aware that snakes. Most of the people are aware that snakes mostly feed on rodents, eggs, fishes, insects, reptiles. Fishes like checkered keelback and all these are mostly they predate inside water bodies. So there have been records that they actually feed on fishes and crustaceans as well. Respondents' knowledge on what harm do snakes cause other than loss of human life. Loss of food, hardly anyone mark, and loss of property, hardly anyone mark. But loss of pet animals like cats, dogs, birds, fishes, etc. People claim that snakes have been found to be a cause for the loss of pet animals, loss of livestock, and this can be actually considered if we see it from a scientific point of view as well, because the loss of livestock, the pythons are a great threat to the livestock because they are very goats, sheep, and even the calves or buffalo young ones, anyone, whatever fits inside their mouth. And whenever these animals go grazing into the fields or grasslands, and a big python is present over there, they might not miss a chance to catch such an easy prey. And loss of pet animals also, because people have actually reported in a one-to-one conversation that like long ago their dog died because of a snake bite, or a python swallowed their cat or something. So there have been actually a case Then number of snake bite victims. We are now jumping on to the snake bite scenario in Uttar Pradesh. So number of snake bite victims whom people knew about and identification of the species in case of snake bite. So the question raised was how many people do the respondents know about who have been bitten by snakes, and most of the respondents said that they didn't know anyone who was bitten by a snake, and around 5.4% people claimed that they knew more than 10 people who were bitten by snakes, and these 5.4% respondents were mostly linked by some means to a rural settlement, suggesting that rural settlements are facing more snake bite cases as compared to urban settlements. And then obviously in this table, we can see how many people knew at least one person or at least 2% who have been bitten by snakes. So it goes like this. And so the other questions raised were in the snake to know about the snake bite scenario were victims who survived after a snake bite. So most of the respondents, around 44.66% respondents, claimed that all the victims survived after getting a snake bite, and 25.89% responded that more than half of the victims survived after a snake bite, and very less, only 5.70% responded that none of the victims survived after a snake bite. So the people who are claiming here that more than half of the victims survived, or all of the victims survived. So like there's a point to think about that there might be many snake species that were non-venomous who bit certain people. So obviously, because since they don't know that which species has bitten the person, so it's very hard to make out that whether the victim survived in case of bite from a venomous species or not, how many victims actually survived. But these are some of the things that actually create a misunderstanding in the minds of people, that if a non-venomous snake has bitten a person, and they take him to some kind of hakim or baba or tantric or some spiritual influencer, and he just does some kind of ritual, and the person survives. So because these guys are expert in determining that whether this bite is a venomous one or non-venomous, because they have been taught this generation after generation, and people get influenced that okay, he was the person who treated the snake bite, and thus they become, they start following whatever these guys say. Victims who received any kind of first aid, again it's showing that all of the victims received first aid, and or more than half of the victims, 15.44% have claimed that more than half of the victims received first aid. None of the victims received first aid, like very few people are claiming of that. But again, the point to think about is that whether the first aid that was given to the person was the correct one or not. Then victims who received any immediate medical help or hospital facility within 1 hour after the bite. So 1 hour specified here is because if a venomous snake bites a person, uh, and if he is a healthy person, so he'll have almost a time of around 45 minutes to 1 hour to actually reach the hospital, if he is following all the precautions and all the protocols of snake bite management. If he has taken care of the wound properly, then he has around not less than 1 hour to reach the hospital facility. But people were actually unaware about, like most of the people, 32.30% didn't know whether the victim received any kind of immediate medical help or hospital facility or not. And 23.75 again claim that all of the victims received medical help. And here, one thing to note about is that after all of the victims, the column shifts to none of the victims, with 17.34% respondents claiming that none of the victims received immediate medical help. Then coming to the point that whether the first aid methods which they followed were correct or not, these are some of the uh, total of 20 points tell us that whether the what kind of actions do people actually take on the pretext of snake bite management? Only 5 of the options were correct, told by people that they do as a protocol for snake bite management were wrong. So washing the bitten part with soap and running water, keeping the person calm and at rest, making the person lie down with wound below the heart, and removing any kind of jewelry from the bitten part, pushing the victim immediately to the hospital. These were the 5 points which people said that they actually do. And these are correct as if we talk about the snake bite management. But the rest of the 15 points, that is making a cut on the bite spot, tightly tying the bitten part above the bite spot, or taking actions as per superstitious belief, or immediately killing the snake, removing blood from bitten part, using tourniquet even, and giving CPR. These are like the 15 such points. These are actually very wrong if we are talking about snake bite management. These are some of the things which experts have classified as don'ts, do nots in case of a snake bite management, because they might actually just either they will have no impact on the removal of the venom, or they'll actually severely impact the victim. Because if you are making a cut on the bite spot with some kind of blade or maybe knife or something, so it'll actually result in maybe you can have to take anti-tetanus injection or something. So it is obviously complicating things. Then respondents' behavior towards snake charmers. Now we jump on to the snake charmer scenario, and whether the people are tolerant about snake charmers or not. So the question raised was, how frequently do you stop by to enjoy the shows displayed by snake charmers? And people today claim that most of the people, that is 34%, claim that they never ever stop to enjoy the shows displayed by snake charmers. That was not the thing in the past. If any snake charmer used to pass by on the road, there used to be a crowd gathering around the snake charmers to just witness the snake and the shows displayed by the snake charmers. But 34% people, I think it can be attributed because of their busy lives, or maybe because of the influence of social media or something, because they have better means of entertainment even in the rural sectors. And people, like most of the people, after claiming that they never ever stop by to enjoy the shows, 30.77% people claim that they rarely stop by to enjoy the shows. And very less percent, that is 1.23% people claim that they every time stop by to see the shows displayed by snake charmers. So this is a plus point, because these are some of the things that will actually bring down the snake charmer populations. If people will stop showing their interest in the games displayed by snake charmers, obviously it will result in declining of snake charmer population. How frequently do you donate something to snake charmers when you come across them? Uh, Again, majority of people, 39.54%, claim that they never ever donate anything to snake charmers when they come across them. And the same thing went on, that very less percentage of people, that is least percentage of people, 3.69% claim that they every time donate something to snake charmers. So again, when snake charmers will stop receiving any kinds of goods or any kinds of tolerance from the people, so they will have to find an other means, some other means to carry on their livelihood. Percentage downfall as witnessed by respondents from 2010 to 2020, that is in the last decade that has passed. So this is a table with respondents claiming how much percentage downfall they have witnessed. That is around 40% people claim that they have witnessed downfall, 1 to 10% downfall in snake charmer population, and 24 respondents claimed that they have witnessed around 91 to 100% percentage downfall. And this is the table showing the percentage groups and the frequency of the people claiming that how much percentage downfall they have witnessed in snake charmer population in last decade. And the average mean percentage downfall in the population of snake charmers witnessed by the respondents from 2010 till 2020 is 47.60%. We are almost reaching a 50% percentage downfall in snake charmers in last decade. And this is something which has been claimed by the respondents themselves. So it needs again a thorough study, and it's actually not possible, I believe, because we don't have any prior studies telling about exact snake charmer populations or influence of snake charmers. But still, something can be done to actually monitor this downfall in next few years. So we'll be actually able to calculate that whether the people are becoming more and more less tolerant regarding towards the snake charmers or not. Identified myths. So we identified around 46 myths, and we classified them as less prevalent, moderately prevalent, and highly prevalent. So 22 myths were classified as less prevalent, and 16 were classified as moderately prevalent, and 8 were classified as highly prevalent. And these are the myths suggested by the people themselves. We just kept on adding the number of people in one particular myth that has been suggested by some or the other person. I'll just read down the highly prevalent myths. Some of the most commonly believed myths are snakes take revenge, snakes dance on the tune of bean or flute of snake charmers, snakes like fragrance, so they usually hang or dwell on plants like and trees like Radharani, Chandan, Kevra, etc. Pythons can suck any creature from long range as well by inhaling air. Snakes like to drink milk, or red sand boa actually has two heads to move on either side of its body. And red sand boa has medicinal uses. Actually, this thing, red sand boa has medicinal uses. This has been the cause for smuggling of red sand boa at a very high stage, a high rate, and the shooting prices of red sand boa in international black market. And pythons can eat humans. That is again a myth. We have discussed it earlier that just a few cases, exceptional cases, have been reported, but otherwise humans are not at all anywhere involved in the diet range of any kind of snake. Then we come to the conservation scenario, that how much tolerant and how much conservative people are about snakes. So only 16.15% responded stated that snakes are a threat to human life, and 51.85% stated that they are not a threat, and 32 were not sure regarding this. So still, we can infer from this that most of the people are they believe that snakes are actually not a threat to human life. But just the thing is that the fear that is inherited in the minds of people make them somewhere intolerant about snakes. Majority of respondents, that is 61.08%, stated that they like snakes, whereas 38.92% responded that they do not like snakes. Even like a very important thing to notice here was that even though most of the people earlier stated that they fear snakes, but here they responded that they still like snakes, and they are tolerant about they are tolerant about snakes in their environment or in their surroundings. And 84.62 respondents said that snakes are actually important for ecosystem and nature, so they are keen to save them and play their role in conservation of snakes. All these things are attributed to, I think, mostly to the channels like the TV channels, that is the National Geographic, Discovery. There are lots of such channels because people actually are very interested in watching these channels. So reason can be anything, maybe adventure or anything. They get a very good hand of time, but somewhere it has impacted the minds of people, and they have become more conservative and aware about the ecosystem and nature. So general perception of respondents about snakes and their conservation. Lastly, we asked them that, do you think that snakes are important for ecosystem and nature? And 84.62% people responded that yes, they are. And we asked them, do you think that our survival depends on snakes directly or indirectly? Again, major percentage of people, 60.46% people said that yes, we think so. And should we save snakes? Again, 70.31% people said that yes, we should save snakes. So it was a positive response from the people of Uttar Pradesh. And respondents' reaction on encountering a snake. So people, 26.62% people claim that they do nothing when they encounter a snake, and most of the people, that is 64.92% people, said that they contact someone who can rescue it or drive it away. But in between comes different types of situations or actions done by the people. That is either some of them kill it, or some of them try to take a photograph, which is also okay, because it can help in rescuing the snakes. It can be beneficial to the rescuer, because he might just form his strategy on his way to the rescue site if he knows which snake has been encountered. Some of them try to catch it, though the percentage is very less, but some of them still they try to catch it all by themselves. Then 27.23% people try to identify it, which is a good response, I believe. And 2.46% people said that they threw kerosene or oil or petrol on the snake in order to kill it. And 11.69% people said that they throw stones, stick, or other stuff to drive it away. But the thing is that in their practice of driving it away, they might just unintentionally kill the snake if they are throwing stones or stick at it. So as we have seen here that most of the people contact someone who can rescue or drive away the snake. We need to find out whom do they contact on encountering the snake. So 23.70% people said that they contact neighbors. Some of them said that they contact their relatives or friends. Around 26% again said that they contact any random person. Like obviously, if he people are so much feared about a snake, they'll just try to find out that anyone who can just come and help them in driving away the snake from their houses. Then 18.01% people said that they contact snake charmers in order to catch or drive away the snake. This 18.01% is the response in 2021. But I believe if this had been the question around 12, 15 years back, this percentage would have been much higher, because we have seen previously that people have become much less tolerant about snake in the last about snake charmers in the last decade. So influence of snake charmers was quite high around 15 years back, and the percentage of people contacting snake charmer to take out the snake would have been much higher. Then 28.9% people contact private snake rescuer, and 48.58% people contact any NGO directly. So the protocol says that they need to first contact the forest department, and then forest department will be the authority to manage or to see whom to send and whom not to send for the rescue. Though 53.55% people said that they actually contact forest department, and 9.48% people said that they contact police. God knows for what, but they do. So some of the suggestions from this study that we give in order to manage the perception and attitude of people, and also the knowledge base, and to make people more aware of what to do and what not to do in case of human snake interactions, is that take more precaution in working in agricultural land, gardens, forested areas for wood collection or grass collection, especially during the monsoon. And in the evenings, if we talk about a daily basis or a diurnal basis, then regular rodent control in monsoon in homes and gardens is very essential. I would suggest that if you can control the prey population, obviously the predator population will be controlled. Also, one point to be noted here is that even if you have removed all the rodents from your house, but just go checking around behind this stuff, that whether you don't have any pellets or any excreta of rodents, because this excreta is something that can again draw snakes inside your house, because it carries the smell of rodents. It makes the snakes assume that if excreta is present, then obviously the prey would also be present. Then public must be made more about snake bite management. Administration of every locality in a district must keep a demographic record, as we have talked earlier, that demographic record of the population is essential, and it must be shared with the local hospitals as well. Each and every locality inside a town or a rural area must be well equipped and well maintained medical students and staff must be trained exclusively for snake bite management. Very probable cause for a lack of confidence of people in medical stuff and their preference of local spiritual influencers or tantrics or babas is because our medical system lacks dedicated efforts and knowledge base in snake bite management. So medical students are obviously taught snake bite management or snake bite treatment, but still I think they must be made more like they must be trained exclusively for snake bite management. There must be workshop conducted for medical students so that they become so proficient in dealing with snake bite cases that they substantially be able to reduce the mortalities caused by snake bites. And making the snake bite treatment facilities available in rural sectors where the snake bite cases are more frequent, obviously. Then treatment must be cost effective or it should be bear by government so that it allows the poor sector to afford the medical facilities. If like I believe one vial of antivenom in government hospital costs 650 rupees and I think it shoots up to 2000 or 3000 rupees per vial of antivenom in private hospitals. So obviously a poor person or a farmer or a pastoral or anyone, he will be unable to afford such kind of costly facilities. So obviously this makes them approach people who are almost not taking anything as compared to this. And those people are the ones, obviously, we know we have talked about snake charmers or people who are the cause for negative perception or ill knowledge in the minds of people. Then awareness programs must be conducted by the administration on a more regular basis. A study in Kerala showed that awareness programs can actually reduce the snake bite mortalities as well as negative causes of human snake interactions to a much larger scale. Then upcoming generation must be taught about this snake bite management and human snake interaction scenario and everything because if upcoming generation get educated to coexist with the snakes, half of the work will be done because they will be the ones to actually educate their people or their family to how to coexist with the snake. Like I think whatever is being taught in the schools, most of the children they come and share it with their parents or family members, and somewhere it will help in spreading word of awareness. Forest department must aim to have well-trained and efficient snake rescue teams with less response time. So what happens is that forest department staff mostly is not very well equipped and is not very well trained to rescue the snakes, which causes most of the failed rescues. And maybe it can even lead to snake deaths. And also forest department takes a very long response time. It has a very long response time at places that I've seen. So this response time must be reduced, and well trained and efficient snake rescue teams must be created in the forest department as well, so that forest department doesn't have any need to be dependent on NGOs or private rescuers, because ultimately we need people to have confidence in the forest department. But with these things, obviously, it's almost impossible to gain confidence of people for the forest department. Social media is one thing that must be used to circulate knowledge and awareness among a huge population easily by involving socially active pages and people with high social media reach as stakeholders in their awareness campaigns. Because people, whatever they see nowadays on social media, it creates a major impact in their minds. Come across anything related to snakes or snake awareness or something, somewhere it will actually create an impact on their mind. So with this, I conclude my presentation, and I would like to thank Dr. Nishit Dharaiya, who is the co-founder and honorary director of research in WCB Research Foundation. He was my supervisor, and Mrs. Shruti Patel, who is a junior research fellow in WCB Research Lab and HNG University. She was my co-supervisor. Both of them have helped me a lot in carrying out this study. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you may kindly come up with it.